You see it every day. A $90,000 pickup truck crawling through downtown traffic. Lifted suspension, oversized tires. A powerful engine built for conditions most people will never experience. It looks like it belongs on a construction site, a hunting trail, or somewhere deep in the wilderness. But instead, it spends its life parked outside office buildings, sitting in grocery store parking lots, and driving through suburban neighborhoods. People look at it and think one thing: that person must be doing well. But what if the opposite is true? What if the thing that makes someone look successful is the exact thing quietly keeping them from becoming wealthy? Because the truck is not the real problem. The car is not the real problem. The real problem is the psychology behind the purchase. The need to appear ahead before actually getting ahead. This is the Pavement Princess trap. A financial trap where people spend money to display success instead of using money to create it. And the dangerous part is that it doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like a reward. I work hard. I deserve something nice. I've waited years for this. I don't want to drive something embarrassing. Those thoughts are normal. They are human. But hidden inside those feelings is a decision that can shape your financial future for years. Because wealth is not only determined by how much money comes in, it is heavily influenced by what happens to that money after it arrives. Two people can earn the same income, live in the same city, have the same opportunities, and still end up in completely different financial situations. One person slowly builds freedom. The other person slowly builds a lifestyle they have to keep paying for. And the difference often comes down to one question. Are you buying things because they improve your life, or because they improve how other people see your life? That question is uncomfortable, because modern society rewards the appearance of wealth. Social media makes it easier than ever to show the highlights. Nobody posts the years of delayed gratification. Nobody posts the investment account they ignored. Nobody posts the credit card bill after a luxury vacation. People show the result, not the cost. And that creates a dangerous illusion. It makes it seem like everyone around you is moving ahead. Everyone has the newer car, the bigger house, the expensive lifestyle. So naturally, your brain starts asking, am I falling behind? This is where the psychology becomes powerful. Humans have always compared themselves to others. Psychologists call this social comparison theory. We measure ourselves by looking around us. The problem is that in the modern world, the comparison never ends. There is always someone with something newer, someone making more money, someone displaying a lifestyle that looks better. And if your financial decisions are based on keeping up, there will never be a finish line. Because someone will always have a bigger symbol of success. A better car, a more expensive watch, a larger house, a more impressive vacation. The game is impossible to win, but millions of people keep playing. And companies understand this better than anyone. The reason luxury purchases are so powerful is because they are rarely sold as just products. A truck company does not only sell horsepower. A luxury brand does not only sell materials. A designer company does not only sell clothing. They sell identity. They sell the feeling that comes with being seen differently. The message is simple. Buy this and people will view you differently. And for many people, that message is incredibly hard to resist. Because deep down, most people don't just want things. They want what those things represent. Respect, confidence, recognition, a feeling that they finally made it. But here is where the trap appears. The people who look wealthy and the people who are wealthy are often playing completely different games. Someone focused on looking rich asks, how much can I afford per month? Someone focused on becoming wealthy asks, how much freedom can this money create? That difference changes everything. Because a monthly payment hides the real cost. A vehicle payment might seem manageable. Maybe $800 a month. Maybe $1,000. Maybe more. But the true cost is not just the payment. It is insurance, maintenance, fuel, registración, depreciation, and most importantly, the opportunities that money could have created somewhere else. That a $1,000 a month is not only $1,000. It is money that could have been invested, money that could have grown, money that could have become part of a financial foundation. This is something wealthy people understand differently. They don't only ask, can I buy this? They ask, what does buying this prevent me from building? Because every financial decision has an opportunity cost. Every dollar has a job. A dollar spent on something temporary cannot also be used for something permanent. And this is why the Pavement Princess trap is bigger than a vehicle. The vehicle is just the symbol. The deeper issue is confusing consumption with progress, thinking that upgrading your lifestyle means upgrading your life. But those two things are not always connected. Sometimes the person driving the older car is the person buying their future. And sometimes the person driving the expensive vehicle is financing an image they cannot afford. The most interesting part? Many people caught in this trap are not irresponsible. They are often hardworking. They are ambitious. They simply made one mistake. They started spending like the person they wanted to become instead of building like the person they wanted to become. And understanding why that happens leads us into the deeper question. Why are human beings so attracted to things that make us look successful, even when those things slow down our actual success? Because the answer is not just about money, it is about psychology. And that is where the real trap begins. The reason this trap is so powerful is because the human brain was never designed to think like a financial spreadsheet. Your brain is designed to seek rewards, avoid pain, and protect your social position. For thousands of years, being respected by a group was connected to survival. Being ignored or rejected could have serious consequences. Today, survival does not depend on whether your neighbors think you are successful. But your brain still reacts to status. It still notices who seems ahead. It still compares. And modern marketing has learned how to use that instinct. A vehicle is no longer just transportation. A house is no longer just shelter. A watch is no longer just something that tells time. They become symbols. Symbols that communicate a story. I'm successful. I'm important. I've achieved something. And there is nothing wrong with wanting nice things. The problem begins when the symbol becomes more important than the foundation. Because real wealth is usually invisible. The person with the strongest financial position may not look like the richest person in the room. They may not have the newest car. They may not wear the most expensive clothes. They may not constantly upgrade their lifestyle. But behind the scenes, they own assets. They have options. They have financial flexibility. They have the ability to say no. That is the part most people miss. Wealth is not just about having expensive things. Wealth is about having control over your time and choices. And many status purchases do the opposite. They reduce your freedom. A person can make a high income and still feel trapped because their lifestyle requires every dollar they earn. The moment their paycheck stops, everything starts collapsing. That is not financial success. That is financial dependence. This is why income alone does not create wealth. Your behavior after earning money matters more. Research in behavioral finance has repeatedly shown that humans often struggle with delayed gratification. We naturally prefer rewards now over larger rewards later. This is known as present bias. A new vehicle today feels real. The investment account you could build over the next 20 years feels abstract. Your brain can see the truck. It cannot emotionally experience the future millionaire version of yourself. That future is invisible, and invisible things are easy to sacrifice. This is why so many people make decisions that seem logical in the moment, but expensive over time. The person thinking about a new truck usually isn't thinking, I want to destroy my financial future. They are thinking, I deserve this. And that is what makes the trap difficult. The decision is connected to emotion, not just numbers. Imagine someone named Esther. Esther is 34 years old. She works a stable job, earns a decent income, and has spent years trying to move up in life. She grew up watching people around her struggle. So when her career finally starts improving, she wants proof that her hard work paid off. She doesn't want to feel like the same person she was years ago. Then one day, she walks into a dealership. The salesperson shows her a truck. It is powerful, comfortable, beautiful. The monthly payment sounds manageable. And Esther tells herself, I've earned this. At first, everything feels amazing. People notice. Friends compliment her. She feels proud. For the first time, she feels like she is finally part of the group she always wanted to join. But 6 months later, reality starts appearing. The payment is still there. Insurance is higher. Fuel costs more. A few unexpected expenses happen. Suddenly, the thing that was supposed to represent freedom becomes another responsibility. Esther didn't buy transportation. She bought a commitment. And the scary part is that this happens slowly. Most financial mistakes don't destroy people overnight. They happen through small decisions repeated over years. A bigger payment here. A more expensive upgrade there. A lifestyle adjustment every time income increases. This is called lifestyle inflation. And it is one of the biggest reasons people who earn more money still feel broke. Because instead of increasing their wealth, they increase their expenses. They get a raise. They upgrade the car. They get a promotion. They upgrade the house. They earn a bonus. They increase their spending. The income rises. But the financial position stays the same. It becomes a treadmill. Run faster. Spend faster. stay in the same place. And this is where the difference between wealthy thinking and average thinking becomes clear. Many financially successful people understand something that sounds simple. Every lifestyle upgrade creates a new financial responsibility. A bigger house is not only a bigger house. It is higher taxes, higher maintenance, more furniture, more energy costs, more pressure to maintain the lifestyle. A luxury vehicle is not only the purchase price. It creates an entire ecosystem of expenses. The purchase is only the beginning. This is why financially disciplined people often look boring. They are not trying to impress the world. They are trying to build something the world cannot see yet. They understand that the strongest financial moves often feel unimpressive in the beginning. Saving, investing, avoiding unnecessary debt, learning valuable skills, building assets. These actions rarely create instant admiration, but they create something much more valuable. Options. And options are the foundation of freedom. The ability to leave a bad job. The ability to handle an emergency. The ability to take opportunities when they appear. The ability to live without constant financial pressure. But many people trade those options for temporary validation. And the most dangerous part? They often don't realize what they gave up. Because society celebrates the visible purchase. Nobody celebrates the invisible sacrifice. Nobody sees the person who didn't upgrade their car. Nobody sees the person who invested instead. Nobody sees the years of quiet discipline. Until one day the results appear. And people call it luck. But the numbers reveal something different. Because the biggest separator between people who build wealth and people who constantly struggle is often not a single huge decision. It is a pattern of choices, a pattern of priorities, a pattern of what they believe money is actually for. Is money for proving something? Or is money for creating something? And this question changes everything. Because once you stop using money to convince people you are successful, you can finally start using money to become successful. The biggest shift happens when you stop seeing money as a way to purchase an identity and start seeing money as a tool to build a life. Because money has two very different jobs. Most people use money to increase their appearance. Wealth builders use money to increase their options. One creates attention. The other creates freedom. And the difference between those two paths can completely change where you end up 10 or 20 years from now. The person trapped in the status game constantly asks, how can I look like I'm winning? The person building wealth asks, how can I make sure I can't lose? That mindset shift is where financial progress begins. Because the truth is, you do not become wealthy by proving that you can afford expensive things. You become wealthy by owning things that produce value, assets, investments, businesses, skills, relationships, knowledge, things that continue working even when you are not actively spending your time. The problem is that consumer culture teaches the opposite lesson. It teaches people to celebrate the reward before building the foundation. You get the expensive car first, the luxury lifestyle first, the upgraded image first, and then you spend years trying to justify the decision. But wealth works differently. Wealth is built backwards. First comes discipline, then assets, then freedom, then, if you want, the luxury. The order matters. A person who buys luxury before building wealth often becomes controlled by the lifestyle. A person who builds wealth first can enjoy luxury without fear. That is the difference. One person owns the lifestyle. The other person is owned by it. Now, this does not mean everyone should drive an old car forever. It does not mean nice things are bad. A reliable vehicle, a comfortable home, or something you genuinely enjoy can absolutely be part of a good life. The question is not, is this expensive? The better question is, does this purchase support the life I'm trying to build? Because the same purchase can be smart for one person and destructive for another. A business owner who buys a vehicle because it creates income is making a different decision from someone buying the same vehicle mainly to receive attention. A person with millions invested making a luxury purchase is playing a different game from someone financing it while having no emergency savings. The object is not the issue. The financial foundation behind it is. This is where people often misunderstand wealthy individuals. They think wealthy people avoid spending money. But many wealthy people do spend money. They simply spend differently. They prioritize things that create more freedom. They understand that looking wealthy and being wealthy are separate categories. One is about perception. The other is about reality. And reality always wins eventually. Because a lifestyle built on appearances requires constant maintenance. The moment income drops, the image becomes difficult to protect. But a life built on assets becomes stronger over time. This is why the most important financial question is not, What can I buy? It is, what am I building? Are you building a lifestyle that requires you to work forever? Or are you building a financial system that gives you choices? Because every decision is a vote for the person you are becoming. Every dollar you spend is a vote. Every purchase is a vote. Every habit is a vote. The problem is that people rarely think about their votes. They only think about the moment, the excitement, the feeling, the approval. But the wealthy mindset looks beyond the moment. It asks, what does this decision look like 5 years from now? What does this decision look like 10 years from now? Will future me thank me for this? That simple question can prevent years of financial mistakes. Because your future self is the person who pays the price or receives the reward for your current decisions. So how do you avoid the Pavement Princess trap? The answer is not complicated. First, separate your wants from your identity. You are not your car. You are not your house. You are not the brands you wear. Your value is not determined by the things you own. Second, create a gap between earning and spending. When your income rises, do not automatically upgrade your lifestyle. Give yourself time. Let your wealth grow before your expenses grow. Third, focus on buying freedom. Invest. Build skills. Create assets. Save aggressively when possible. Not because you can never enjoy money, but because money gives you more enjoyment when it is not controlling you. And finally, understand this. The people who truly win the money game are not always the people who look like they are winning. Some of the most financially successful people spent years looking ordinary. They drove normal cars. They avoided unnecessary attention. They made decisions that nobody applauded. But while everyone else was buying symbols of success, they were buying the thing that matters most: time, freedom, options. Because at the end of the day, the goal of wealth was never really about owning the biggest truck, the biggest house, or the most expensive things. The goal of wealth is to reach a point where your life is no longer controlled by what you have to pay for. The real flex is not making people think you have money. The real flex is having enough financial strength that you no longer need to prove anything. Because the person who spends everything trying to look successful may spend their entire life chasing an image. But the person who quietly builds, they eventually wake up with something far more valuable, a life they actually own.